like that. There's just got to be so many.
Yes.
All right. So
Absolutely.
today we learned that interest rates are actually down 0.01. It's actually more than that, right, Larry? But it's just the whole week over week type of thing, right?
Yeah. It went down.
Yeah.
It went
So
down more. It went down more than that for sure. Yes.
yeah. So they went down. Happy days. Mortgage-backed securities are up. And we believe that that's largely or a lot due to the fact that people went and placed their money into what they believe to be more secure assets, such as the bonds and things like that.
Yeah, they call it flight to safety is what they call it. You know, when investors are on a flight to safety, they want to invest in less riskier investments, whatever.
And just ignore the red arrow. I think we had a little bit of mishap there. I think that was, yeah.
It's like animation.
Yeah, right. And maybe there should be a special type of home insurance known as micro insurance because, fun fact, and it's not that fun actually, their traditional home insurance does not cover things like tiny homes. It does not cover things like that home that we just saw right there in Warsaw, Poland. And so it's a kind of nightmare to try and get insurance for that. But I feel like there should be definitely some type of micro home insurance for this. So
my explanation would be like the fact that there's lack of comparables, right? There's like they don't know the value of the house, right? I guarantee you no one knows how to appraise that house. That tiny that home that we just saw, there's no appraiser that's going to touch that one.
Yeah, especially if it's an asset producing too, because it's like if people have to pay tickets to see it.
Yeah,
Or anything like that. I have no idea. I didn't look that up.
It would be hard to figure that out.
So thanks for watching. That was What the Mortgage is Going On. I think we did good at keeping it short and sweet, which was the goal. Like, let's make this short and sweet and do a little bit better because then we can move on to the rest of our topics. Larry, I'm going to keep you on if you're good for it.
Yeah, 100%.
We got some extra fun stuff today. So first, we're going to be diving into some of the topics we have, and then we're going to introduce a new segment, and I am so excited for it, called Reacts. We're not going to do this yet, but I'm just a little teaser. Real estate agents reacting to funny, weird, odd, surprisingly right, or just plain wrong real estate content. Special guest Larry, the mortgage guy, that will be helping with that. But let's talk about a little bit of news in the last week, okay? Question I'm seeing, some questions I'm seeing overall is investing in real estate safe right now in the current market? I am getting that question. People are like, well, interest rates are high and home prices really haven't plummeted in the way that people dramatize. Because if they did, it would definitely counterbalance where interest rates are. Like, oh, they plummeted way down, but interest rates went up. Well, then it kind of balances itself out. But we didn't actually really see that. For how much interest rates went up, double, right? Homes did not drop in value in half. So interest rates doubled, which arguably you could equally say is your basically your monthly payment doubled. But the value of homes did not drop at that same rate. Now, that's good, in my opinion. And of course, I want Larry's opinion. It's good, in my opinion, that we didn't see a steep plummet of home prices. I don't think that's ever a good sign.
No.
Right?
No,
I don't think that's ever a good sign.
No.
And so when
it would only benefit the people who are super greedy, super stingy, super like not willing to, you know, actually pay what they should pay, and the people who can't afford homes, right? So I think that would actually be bad to have those people in houses. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the other thing too is that you know, in the crypto world, we call it fudding your own bags. And basically it's like, sure, we all want to get a deal, but you don't want to get a deal under the circumstances to where you get the deal, but then the deal's not good anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that doesn't help. If you get something at a good deal and then the market's trash, like, where's your ROI then?
Yeah, it's kind of like, I don't know, let's use luxury cars as an example, right? Like no one wants to pay $100,000 for a Lamborghini, but if it gets $30,000, everyone's going to buy one, right? But then does that lower the value and the luster of the Lamborghini, right? Like if everyone can afford it or whatever, does the Lamborghini value get a damage because of that, because everyone's buying it, and they're buying it at $30,000, right? So I think that if because so many people have bought houses at the price that they're supposed to buy it, the fact that if prices were to drop and people start buying at that price and that became the norm, that would lower the price of every other house, right? Or the value of every other house, which would affect the economy. So yeah, it's not good for anybody. I think putting people who can't afford homes into homes is not right. And I think hurting other people's equity is not right either. So
Yeah, I think you have to be very, very careful. Um, I think a lot of people can be short-sighted when they look at investing, and it leaves them exposed. But let's talk about it. Like, let's talk about, is real estate investing safe in the current market? So first, I'm going to just ask your generic opinion, your general opinion, Larry. In the current market, with the way things are today, would you say yes or no that real estate investing is still a relative? And again, everyone, this is a generalization. Every type of investment must be personalized to you. What's good for someone may not be good for others. So we're talking about in general specifics. General specifics. That sounds a little oxymoron right there. In generalization, is real estate in the current market a good bet?
absolutely. And I'm going to give you a common sense reason why. Okay. First of all, buying a home is always a good idea if you can afford it, right? And more than likely, when you buy the home and you want to rent it out, there'll be a reasonable rent potential that you can get on that home, right? That would offset the mortgage. Unless you buy cash, well, then you have nothing to worry about, right? But the main reason why I think it's a good idea to invest, and again, this is common sense, is because rent is going up like crazy right now.
It is,
Okay. I'm talking about everyone and their moms is getting killed out there when it comes to renting. I have clients
no
constantly
doubt.
complaining, saying, "Why would I pay $2,000 for this when I can get the same house for myself at two hundred
Even if
dollars?"
it's a crappy house, it's like, it's yours. You can fix it up
Yes,
and it means something. You can do what you want with it. You can rent out a room. I have
yes,
seen people, personally seen people who live in slums because it's convenient to work. It's better than, or it's what they can afford. In other words, you have an asset that is in extremely high demand. And what's
yes,
amazing when you own a home is, let's say someone can't afford a home themselves and they can't afford the rent for $2,000 a month to it, but they can afford $1,000 for a room.
mhm,
I mean, you can help someone out and
yes.
make money. That's a pretty good deal because there is not enough rentals. There's not enough rentals and there's not enough houses to go around.
Yep, absolutely. And because of the demand for rent, being an investor, you're pretty much guaranteed, and I'm careful to say that, but you're pretty much guaranteed to fill that spot. It might depend on how much you charge for rent, how
Right.
fast
You
you fill
still
it.
need to have a marketable, competitive business,
Yep,
right? If everybody in the market's charging $2,000 for the same thing a month and you charge $5,000, you're probably not going to fill that gap. But
yeah,
if you charge $1,900, you probably be in a good position. Again,
absolutely.
generalization, assuming that you are competitive and roughly within the reasonable market range.
Yep. And there's nothing wrong with having someone paying your mortgage, right? Even if it's not 100% of it. So let's say your mortgage is 2,000 and you're only getting 1,900. That means you're getting a house for $100 a month. There's nothing really wrong with that. I would do that all day long. I would buy 10 houses at $100 a month investment if I had to, right?
Listen,
Because
yeah.
eventually that will be my equity, right? And that's something that I think a lot of people understand. And I talk about this a lot. The U.S. Census Bureau stated that the difference between renters and homeowners is 80 times net worth. Okay, that means the moment you go from a renter to a homeowner, you've potentially increased your net worth by 80 times. And the main reason why is because of home equity and retirement accounts. Okay, so even if you're not buying for yourself, if you're buying it as an investor, you're still getting equity from that house. So that adds to your net worth. So no matter what, being a homeowner is like literally the gateway to getting out of poverty. So yeah, it's always a good time to invest.
And I think it is a very simple question. Would you like to make 80 times more than you currently do?
Mhm. Yes.
Would anybody say no?
No.
Okay, then they need to own a home.
Absolutely.
It will appreciate faster than they'll get a raise at their job statistically.
Yes.
Let me just tell you that. And if you don't see, the problem is people see the paycheck and they go, that's more real to me. And that's why a lot of people don't invest in general
Mhm.
because they would rather go and literally work overtime at their job, get taxed even more because of overtime, be pushed into a higher tax bracket than they
Mhm.
were originally.
Mhm.
And they would rather do that than set time and money aside to own investment property or own their own home and
Mhm.
build equity. They'd
Mhm.
rather do that than have other means of protecting the liabilities. A home warranty, the right type of home insurance, umbrella insurance, even other things that protect your assets. What I'm not speaking for or against, I'm trying to create perspective. Whole home air filters, whole home water filters, whole home power surge protectors. People do not think from a planning strategy. And so instead, we've talked about this a million times, they're reactive.
Yes.
They wait till it's time for them to retire to worry about what's actually going to work for the retirement because they assume that someone else, Social Security / the government, their 401k at their job, they assume that someone else did their math. I'm going to tell you the truth. They didn't.
Yep.
Because you know what they do? They all assume someone else did the math too.
Yep.
There's nobody in Social Security actually mapping this out. If you did, you would know the numbers. Social Security is nowhere enough.
Yep.
401ks, those get wiped out, man.
Yep.
During the pandemic, huge hit.
Yes.
Multiple times. 2008, huge hit.
Yes.
And other times, you can also you can be if your company's acquired, they don't have to uphold the 401k. That has to be negotiated. And companies are going to be acquired. I think a lot more are going to be coming in the near future if interest rates stay where they are,
Yep.
because
It's
a
happening.
lot of companies are funded by debt and they only stay open because they can borrow enough money to stay open. And if an acquisition happens and the other side says, nah, we don't want the 401k part with that, they don't have to.
Yep.
And so that's why it's like, you want to talk about, is real estate investing safe? No investment is perfect. But historically, even people who bought upside down in bad circumstances, as long as they could hang on, the home appreciates, they gain equity, and they can make a profit.
Yep. Absolutely.
And it just gives them so much more liberty to do other things. You can rent out your garage, guys. That is a thing. Depending on where you are, there are apps that let you rent out your garage.
Yep.
Because guess what? There's a lot of small mom and pop businesses who need a place to store, a place to work out of. I met a guy who in his garage had someone else's wood shop because the dude couldn't afford a home of his own. So it's like, dang. I mean, we got to move on. But the short of the sweet is it that statistically, real estate appreciates better than any other asset out there. It
Yeah.
statistically performs better. Go ahead.
Yeah. And the thing about your mortgage, right, is you actually can control it, right? And it doesn't change every year. I mean, property taxes do, but the mortgage stays the same, right? Whereas when you're renting, the landlord can hike the rent up as much as they want. Okay, you can't control that. Just imagine having a mortgage that constantly went up. That's insanity. That's what's happening with these landlords. Okay, I
And
heard
it
a
has to
story.
happen. Like, before people criminalize them, you have to understand, like, food went up, which means their food went up. The employees that they hire to do their work, their rates went up. Everybody's rates went up. Then you get whether you like it or not, I'm not arguing for or against, I'm not getting political. Whether you like it or not, you have socialist type of states that increase the minimum wage, meaning they don't even have an option now. So if they don't have an option to not pay someone more money, then you can naturally know that they're going to feel that they do not have an option to not charge you more rent.
Yep.
Right.
Absolutely.
And you have to understand, this is a business. Walmart doesn't care about you, and you still shop at Walmart. So why are you mad at your landlord?
Right. Absolutely.
because you
Absolutely.
have no problem going to the movies, which is a total blow of money. There's no investment. There's no ROI. There is nothing like that. And you will go to the movies. You will eat fast food that is not good for you. You will do things, and then you get mad at the landlord. You pick and choose. Oh, the landlord, though, is where I draw the line. Man,
They go,
draw the line by owning your own home, by building an investment. You don't like your landlord? Become a better one.
yeah. Chris Rock calls it selective outrage.
Selective outrage.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah,
yeah,
actually, I remember that now.
yeah. But yes, seriously though, there was a story that I heard of a person who paid who leased a house for 30 years, right? 30 years. Okay. And then the landlord, because they're on a fixed income because they're older, right? The landlord raised the rent and they can't afford it. Guess what? The guy has to leave after 30 years, dude. The guy lived in the house for 30, he would have been paying a mortgage if he just bought it and he would have been paid off. But now he goes from the potential of having equity and a property that's his, and no matter what, once he pays off the 30 years of rent slash mortgage, he would have no more liabilities towards the house. Now he
Yep.
has to go find a new house with no equity, zero equity.
Yep.
Time value of money. A lot of people forget about that.
And
Okay.
we're spending a lot of time on this, but it is kind of the main topic, and we can always do other topics at a later date. But I
Mhm,
feel like it's really hard for me. I get frustrated because I'm like, I want to help you,
mhm,
but at some point you have to help yourself. At some point, you have to say, I'm not going to buy Starbucks anymore because it does not help my life. It does
mhm,
not get me ahead. It makes me dependent. And I'm going to, not that Starbucks is bad. No hate to Schultz, okay? That dude was in poverty and he took out a second mortgage on his house. He took a lot of risk. I'm not hating on Schultz who started Starbucks. I'm saying at some point, if you're serious about changing your life, your actions have to show that. I know people who are renting and renting and renting forever, yelling at the government, yelling at their crappy landlords. And then I see that they have the newest iPhone and they have the newest PS, what is it, 5 now?
yeah, it is the PS5.
And I go, listen, I'm all for luxuries. I like video games, right? I like my phone to work,
Mhm,
obviously. But
mhm,
at some point, you have to say either this is a priority or it's not. If it's not a priority, then don't say a word about your landlord or your landlord increasing their prices. You can say they're crappy and all that, but you really can't complain about your life if you don't want to do anything about it
yep,
because there's options. There's
yes,
so many options, even with interest rates high right now. There are good deals happening. There's good government programs. There's good private lender programs that are out there. There's people who advocate for you, support you. There's credit classes. I know someone who teaches a free credit class. There's credit education to build your credit up. You have all the tools. And now that you've watched this show, you have all the people that you need to know, or we'll connect you to the people you need to know because
yep.
we will do that for you. We'll connect you to great people to help you in this journey. All right, let's move on. Soapbox off. Use
One final word real quick.
okay. Yes, yes.
My last 6 clients, 5 of them were investors. Just saying. Last
Mm,
last 6 clients, 5 of them were investors because they don't care about the rate. They care about the future value
profit.
of the home. Yeah, future
Yep.
profits. So yeah.
Can I make money? If I can make
Yep,
money, if I can be in the green, I'm happy. All right.
absolutely.
So real estate investing is safe in the current market. News or noise?
News 100%.
100%. Definitely agree. Definitely agree. What should you do next, guys? Stay educated. I swear we say the same thing every single week, which is just know what the truth is. Know
Mhm.
whether Larry just said it. 5 of his clients. Ask your lender, how many investors are you seeing? What are the payments you're looking at? Just understand the numbers. When you look at the numbers, you're actually going to find it's not as jarring as it sounds. It's not that much different than pre-COVID. Because remember, you cannot count anything that happened during the COVID period. That was an anomaly. We don't base things off anomalies. Outlying factors like that, we remove them from an algorithm. We remove them from a formula because they are not consistent. When you look at consistently, we're pretty normal. We're pretty normal. Even if we're on the high side, okay, we're on the high side of normal. Like, right? Okay. Multi-generational homes. We're going to breeze through this one because I want us to have time for reacts. So
Okay.
basically, we're just going to briefly bring in about multi-generational homes because I've been seeing this a lot come up. where and this came up extremely a lot in two very distinct times in history in the last 20, 30 years. The crash in 2008, we saw multi-generational homes. What's a multi-generational home? A multi-generational home is literally where multiple families, generations of a family, I should say, live together. It could be your mom and dad, and they're taking care of their their parents, right? It could be that mom and dad and then their kids that are adults are staying there. Multi-generational does not include children, just so you know, children of the homeowners. That's just a single family home, right? Or a home. So we're talking about generational gaps where traditionally mom and dad, grandma and grandpa would have separate homes. They are in one home. So we saw these upticks first in the crash recently, and then in COVID, because we just saw a great need and a shift. And it kind of made me want to discuss a little bit about the power of a multi-generational home, because it can be a great way. That's a fun one. It can be a great way for those who can't afford a home yet, but there is a need. And so, Larry, have you seen? I don't know how much you get to know on the lending side of the family situation, right? An agent will typically know because the family will come to showings and be more involved. Do you get to see much of the family situation from the loan side of things?
Yeah, I'll have applicants where it's mom and dad and the child, and the child's the main person, right? So it'll be like, yeah, I'm buying a house. I need to upgrade because my parents are moving in with me. That's a multi-generational house right there. So, and then
Right there.
the parents would be on the application as well. So they'll be the borrower and the borrower's parent, and that's the co-borrowers, right?
Yep.
So yeah, and it's I think it's because of the baby boomers, right? They're getting to the point where they need a little bit more support, and they're not ready, I guess you would call that, for assisted living, right? They're not ready for that, but they do need maybe a little support, so they're living with their kids. They're moving back with their kids, so it's not abnormal.
So I'm gonna
And
bring up something that I'm really excited, and because as far as I can tell, you're Asian, right, Larry?
I am Asian, yes.
Okay, so you're gonna. I think I actually genuinely want your opinion on this. So I was
Sure.
looking up the power of multi-generational homes, because I try, guys, to the best of my abilities. I don't claim myself to be a journalist, just so you know, but I try to bring good, solid facts and data to you, but I don't want to put a title on myself because I don't even know how to gauge whether I would be a good journalist or not. So I don't want to put that out there. So I was doing some research and I go, who does multi-generational really help or not? Here's what I found. Okay. The wealthiest people in America are not white Americans, just so you know. They are Asian Americans, and it's by a long shot. And there's a couple things, and I won't get into the other things because I don't want to get political. So, but what I will say is one of the biggest things that they do, top attributors to their wealth and their success, is they almost always have a multi-generational home. Almost always. It is mom and dad paved the way, and then grandma, grandpa might move in after. Children, grown adults might move in. There's a lot of community. There's where they cook together, they bond together, they pay bills together, they share cars. Then what happens is that they build wealth. The value, they can get a nicer home in a nicer area because you have 4 incomes instead of 2 that are getting that. And then what I've seen based off the data is that then they repeat the process, right? Then mom and dad's home is paid off.
Yep.
So they will take an equity loan against the home, whatever form that is, cash out refi, HELOC, a secondary HELOC, whatever, there's multiple ways to do it. And they'll go get a starter pack, if you will, for the kids that were living with them, the adult kids that were living with them. And then they pay off their home quicker. And so it's like, okay, but there's a lot of factors in the Asian community. Maybe it's just that and other things. So I went and did some research and I said, who's the second wealthiest demographic in America? Guess what? It's still not white Americans, just so you know. Indians from India, those Indians, just to be very clear, from India. And do you know what they do? One of the greatest attributing factors. Theirs is a little bit different than the Asian American. approach. Theirs are, and again, this is all statistics and data, guys. You may know someone and they did it differently. I'm not stereotyping. I'm taking the data and the facts and I'm saying, how are they being smart about it? Because clearly it's working, guys. They will have sometimes multiple adult families, like let's say a brother and a sister, right? And both of them have their respective spouses. They might go live together, pay off a home, and repeat the process. So that's why I kind of wanted to briefly bring up multi-generational homes, just real quick to expand people's minds and hopefully get them to think differently. Is if you find someone who cannot afford a home, is not in a good position, don't just say that sucks. Call me when you're ready. Call me when your boss miraculously pays you more money, which is just not going to happen statistically.
Right.
Be resourceful and say, okay, there's got to be a way to make it happen, because Asian Americans would not be where they are if they were making the same choices as the average, let's say, white American, black American, right? Because there's other choices they've made. So we have to look at the data, set our emotions aside, set even our culture aside, and say, what's smart? What's a smart investing strategy? Because that's an investment strategy. Multi-generational homes. So for agents listening, well, first, Larry, sorry, I went on a lot about this. What are your thoughts initially on everything I just said?
I think it's very smart. And not that I've suggested this, but I've explored questions with people about this, right? Like, do you know someone else that could be maybe a co-borrower? You know, I mean, do you know anyone else that, you know, and they're like, well, my brother, he is looking to buy a house as well, you know. And I was like, well, maybe we can have brother for now, and you know, eventually you guys will increase your credit scores, you have equity, yada yada yada, right? And the truth of the matter is, and I can see where you're kind of going, because theoretically it makes sense. If people were more willing to combine forces, right, with another family, like again, like their brother, their sister, right? Let's put it this way: is two families living in one house paying equity is better than two families paying rent to someone else, right? Like renting and
Right.
renting.
Let's do the math real quick on that, right? You
Yes.
you you don't get anything back when you pay rent. So you're basically always in debt. Let's put it that way. You have a lease. That lease is an amount you owe, which means you're always in debt. And the best case scenario, right, is that you eventually get out of the lease. You'll never get any of that money back, right? But let's say there's like a family and they're like, well, I want my own home, but they can't afford it, so they're not going to get it, so they keep renting. But if
Yep.
they combined with another family, in a couple years, and I'm truly in a couple years, their home would appreciate enough. Let's say it only appreciated 20K, or like in the profit, in the green, okay? Like as in all fees paid, they'd walk away with 20K. Well, guess what? That's 10K for each family, right? They can go put that down, whether it's towards a mortgage, closing costs, something, investment, I don't care. That is way better than for the next 3 years, because statistically nothing's going to change individually in each of those families' lives to make them affordable for a home. Statistically, they're not going to get a raise that's going to make it enough. They might get a $5,000 bonus, which, hey, great, use it smart, but it's not going to be enough to get pre-approved for a loan. Correct, Larry? Because that's
Correct.
just a bonus. That is not your monthly income. That's not your
Well,
rate.
if it's consistent, it can help, but
Right.
we never see that drastically
It's
change
never,
income.
well, I shouldn't say it's never. I've rarely ever seen it to where it's consistent enough to make a difference.
Yeah, it's not a game changer. It's never a game
Yeah, a
changer.
lot of
It's
yeah, go
usually a
ahead.
change. It's usually a change in jobs or work history. Like now that instead of having 1 year, they have 2 years. So let's say they have 1 year of bonuses. Now they have 2 years of bonuses. Okay, now we can count the bonus, right?
Yep.
Things like that, right? But when it comes to like if they're already status quo, they're not going to change a year or 2 years from now. If everything's already
Yeah.
kind of it's not. They have to change jobs or get some sort of bonus or get a promotion or whatever for the most part,
So long story
or pay off
short,
some debts.
set the pride aside.
Mhm.
Explore your options. I'm not saying to go just link up with a random stranger.
No,
No. That's not what a multi-generational home means. It's
right.
multi-generational means family, sometimes extended family. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is if you can't do what you want to do right now, look for every option available to get you there in a different way.
Yeah,
Your
I grew.
lender should be able to help you with that. Your agent should be able to help you just reason through the pros and cons.
Yeah, I grew up in a multi-generational home. My parents, My parents had extra rooms. We had uncles and aunts and cousins and all
Dude,
sorts of people living with us.
I
Grandmother.
I did too. On one half of my family, can you guess which half of the family that had the multi-generational home?
What do you mean? What do you mean? Which half?
Oh,
You or
wait,
your?
I don't know if you know this. So my stepmom is Filipino.
No, I did not know that.
Yeah. So my
That's your little connection. I knew you had some sort of connection.
yeah. So my stepmom's Filipino. So on that side of the family, like multi-generational,
Yep.
hands down. It wasn't even like it just was the way of living.
Yep.
All right. So news or noise, multi-generational homes as an opportunity for further home ownership.
Absolute news. I mean, let's put it this way, Robert. If everyone thought that way, there'll be a lot more houses being bought right now.
I agree.
Yeah.
Like again, like you can do so much more when you work together. You
Yep.
can. Right? I'm not saying listen, if you can do it by yourself, that's a different conversation. Go ahead, go do it. But I'm
Right.
saying if you can't, you have to sit down and be objective and say, "Well, what's going to change that will make this possible?" Listen, when I do investing, I can't do it all on my own. I'm not rich enough. So I go and find other investors and I say, hey, want to go in on this with me? So maybe you're like, I don't want to live with a family. Listen, there are people who rent, use their extra money to buy an investment home with someone else because they don't have enough to own their own personal home and they don't feel comfortable, or maybe they don't have family nearby, right? So for those people like, well, I hate my mom and dad. I would never live with them. Fine. But go find someone then that you can do an investment property with. There's syndicates, there's things like that. Go find something.
Yes. Absolutely.
All right. Question for everyone tuning in. I'm so curious. Do you have a tattoo as a real estate agent? Larry, do you?
Yeah, I got 2 tattoos. I call them like little punk tattoos. I guess. Oh, you can't see it. See
I
small one right
can't see
there.
it.
Oh, you can't see it. Look, see small
Okay, I
little
see. I
one.
see it.
And then this one was nicknamed Mushu.
Oh, I actually remember us talking about Mushu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
The only tattoos I have are called birthmarks. So
Nice.
that's about it. We're going to answer this question next week, but I want everybody's opinion. Do you think that tattoos, in your personal experience, just your personal experience, make a difference with the way that your clients perceive you? Does it make it harder or easier to acquire clients, acquire trust, work with them? Leave a comment. I want your honest personal experience, not data from you, just your personal experience. I'm looking forward to hearing that. Larry, next week I'm going to ask you that too, what your personal experience is. All right, now we get to go to our new segment. I'm so ready for this. We did it. We got time. We got time.
Yes.
It is time for Reacts. It says real estate agent because I'm the host of the show, right? And it would be
Right.
really long-winded to add and maybe other people in real estate.
I totally get it. I consider myself part. I'm like the fifth wheel when it comes to real estate agents.
Yeah, listen, you a star on this show, though.
I
Okay,
appreciate that.
you're my most consistent member and contributor. Okay, so it's us reacting to memes and other things. Oh, that's kind of a good line right there. Memes and other things that we find real estate related on the internet. What the heck? So we are
Yes.
going to go, and then I want you guys at the end of this, you're going to vote for which one is the funniest, weirdest, oddest, your favorite. You ready, Larry?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right, first one. What clients think they're getting for $1 million home versus what they're actually getting. Dude, totally. Absolutely 100% accurate. And it doesn't even matter what price range they're in.
Right.
That mentality is the same.
Yes.
100K, they're like, it's $100,000. I should be getting X, Y, and Z, 2,000 square foot home, 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 5 acres. And I'm
Yes.
like, yeah, that's 1.3 million in Nashville. Right. And I'm not judging them. I get it. If you don't know, you don't know.
Right.
But man, Larry, from your perspective, like, yes, no.
Oh yeah, of course. This is 100%. 100%. Yeah, pre-qualifications happens to me all the time. Like I'll pre-qualify them for whatever amount, and they'll come back and they're like, "Larry, can you give me more money? Because I can't get anything for this." Like they don't realize, like how much houses are now. They really don't. So Yeah.
Right. 100% agree. All right. I wish it was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. I wish the other agent would pick up and I call her.
Yeah, I see a lot of real estate agents complaining about, like, how these people stay in business if they can't answer their phones. I mean, I hear it all the time in these Facebook groups.
The stigma around this still baffles me after years. I still can't believe that this is an issue.
Mhm.
I really can't. I just don't understand. Why don't you answer your phone?
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about a listing agent just answering for one listing that has 40 offers on it. I'm talking about this is a general thing. Chris Raines, top producer, has said that he's gained numerous clients. And when he's asked them why, they literally go, because you answered your phone. What?
Yep.
I'm over here just like, what? Like, what's going on? Like, why do you have a phone then? Just
Right.
curious. If like, why are you in real estate if you don't want to take real estate related calls?
Absolutely.
I'm so confused.
Yeah.
So confused.
This is definitely a thing for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't even know. Okay, this one I got to do a share screen. I'm excited. I'm excited for this one. This one's great.
No
All
no
right.
hate no hate for KW.
Oh,
Okay.
dude, KW's amazing, and I think this video is great. I don't think it's a hate on them at all. All right, here we go. Full screen. There we go.
Homes. I sell homes. 559 area code. Area code. Homes.
Oh man, spot on. I think that video is a compliment, man. That is someone who is confident, who is into what they do. I am the same way.
Yes.
Like, I'm like, heck yeah, man. This is what I do. I am proud of it.
It's like
We got an LOL from Mira in the comments. I'm thinking she liked that one.
it's like when nerds get together, it's like the worst, the best, and the worst comes out. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, that's like when anybody gets together. But I'm a definitely unabashed nerd. Super nerd here, man.
I'm a nerd too, for sure.
I'm that guy in that video. That's me. And pretty sure there's videos of me at anime and cosplay conventions dancing just like that.
Actually, there's a video of me dancing at the mortgage con.
Why was that not on the React today, bro?
I'll send it to you later.
Next week. That's on the list.
Yeah.
All right. So now everybody watching, and Larry, what's your vote? What is your number one? So your number one, your favorite of the night. So we got number one, what clients think they're getting for $1 million. I also like delusion of the price point. We've got answer your freaking phone, man. And we've got the baller KW mastermind.
So I like number two only because it's an actual truth, right? Like, this is the real thing, and it's funny, but it's sad but true. But I mean, I gotta go with the KW mastermind, like, dance off. You know what I'm saying? I gotta go with that guy. I mean, I'm with you, man. That's me. If I have a chance, that's me.
Spirit animal right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would have to say I think number 3 is my favorite too, because I'm that guy. I am truly that guy. Like when we were at EXPCon, my partners and I, Walter Key, Chris Raines, we have a club called the Carbon Club.
Yes.
And we made custom Hawaiian shirts.
I remember that.
To wear to EXPCon, which was amazing and was awesome to wear those. And people thought we were so cool. So the three of us, light bulb moment, we were like, what if because we coach agents, so naturally connecting with more agents is always smart. Even within EXP, like we're very different in that stigma. Like we want to coach and help anybody we possibly can.
Absolutely.
And so we said, what if we turned around and all these people who gave us a thumbs up, we'd be like, want a picture? And so we started doing that, and we walked away with like 30, 40 pictures of people taking us. And we told them #Carbon Club. I think that's what we said. #Carbon Club. And if you go to #Carbon Club on like Facebook and stuff like that, you'll actually see some pictures. and various other things going on. And I was like, this works. You'll get to see the Hawaiian shirts as well, which was super fun. And we had a blast.
I'm looking right now. It's awesome.
Dude. And if you keep scrolling down too, you'll see like other people posting it. And so like it was a ton of fun to do the Carbon Club. So like again, I'm that guy. Number 3. Everybody watching, like and then leave a comment. Number 1, number 2, or number 3 as your favorite. I am so curious what is the winner. And then if you've got a funny real estate meme or video, it can be your own, by the way. We'll give you a shout out. Don't you even worry. We would love to react to it live.
Yes.
So send it to us. I just drop it in the comments right now. Eventually we'll have like a little form or something that you can send it to, but drop it in the comments for now, whether it's a link or the actual picture. That works fine. Or video or whatever. We would love to feature it. Love to feature you. If yours is picked, we'll even shout out your social media handles to give you a blast.
Yeah, a quick shout out. 2 of those were actually either curated or designed by John Clark or Janox. You see his little logo right there with the little baseball hat guy, whatever. Yeah, so shout out to John Knox.
Thank you.
John
This was
Clark.
our first one doing it, so I didn't have a way to. I didn't know who it was yet.
Nope, no problem. I give him the shout. Trust me, he'll appreciate it. So appreciate that.
Shout out to you, John Clark. I think he's a team leader, isn't he?
Yes, he is a team leader with EXP. Yes.
Oh wait, I know John Clark.
Yeah,
dude. Shout out to John Clark double because for the hilarious memes.
Yes, absolutely.
Love it, John. Thank you. So Larry, how was that for reacts?
You know what? I like it, and I'll tell you why. Because I told you before, I get my news from memes, right? Like I don't have the time to actually watch news, so whatever when something crazy happens, I usually find out through memes. So I like memes because it's almost like hieroglyphics, right? It's telling us about the history. It's telling us about the mindset or the experience of people in real estate, right? Whether we're complaining about clients or complaining about each other, right? Or just showing off like we always do, right? So it's just those memes were perfect because it really kind of paints a picture of the life of a real estate agent or a loan officer. So I think it's relatable and it's fun. And
I think some of them are more accurate than the news that we see sometimes too from actual news sources.
Absolutely, especially the housing one, right? The $1 million house.
Yeah, I mean, well, a lot of memes are made from stereotypes, common problems, common solutions, quotes from people who are prominent in that industry, right? So, I mean, a lot of it is kind of like it starts with the truth and then it's exaggerated.
Yep, absolutely. And you know, the meme is what is it a meme? A meme is something that's shareable, right? And the only way it can be shareable if it's relatable. So it's a truth. It's a truth that is accepted by many, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why it's good.
Well, Larry, thanks for being on the show, man. Had a blast. I can't wait to continue to refine the shows we're doing now. Shout out to Larry who helped populate these memes for you guys today. Had a blast. So give him some extra love. And Larry, thanks also for What the Mortgage is going on. We will see you next week.
Yes, sir.
For another episode of Scale Through the Fail.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Talk to you guys later.
See you, buddy. For everybody else, that was Scale Through the Fail. I hope you sincerely enjoyed that. Let us know in the comments. Remember to vote on your favorite meme. Seriously, leave a comment, number 1, 2, or 3, and why you love that one. And it just connected and resonated, as Larry said, made it relatable to you. Why was it relatable to you? I hope you found value in What the Mortgage is going on and the topics we covered today. And so much more is coming your way. We go live every Friday, 9 a.m. Central. I cannot wait to see you